Hello, I'm Martel. Welcome to this very different episode of Same Cast, Different Day podcast. So, in case you've been wondering, the reason why there has been no episodes, one of the 2 of the weeks, I was just like exhausted and I needed some time to like recalibrate, bring myself back together. Then right after that, I got sick, and I'm still been dealing with that illness. I ended up catching a really, really bad cold, and yeah. So on this episode, we're not going to really particular go into things that happened kind of like within the last week or two. We're going to go through some things that should have while I was trying to recuperate and stuff. But I do want to say, um, I went to Walmart recently. Well, today, as it is important, I went to Walmart today, and I think I went in there for a frame because I was trying to get a picture frame for my Vin Parker autographed Vin Parker picture. If you don't know who Vin Parker is, he's a wrestler on the independent circuit. So I was trying to get a picture, a frame for autograph picture. I was trying to get a frame for the autograph picture that I have of him, so I can put on the wall here in my studio. And so I went in there and I couldn't find a picture frame. So I was like, oh, yeah, I'm just while I'm in here. I go to underwear section and I'm like, I didn't know that Walmart locks the underwear. It's been a while since I've been in the store and bought underwear. So normally I will either buy them online or I buy through Savage Fenty, places like that. So I'm like, I'm just get some underwear while I'm here. So I'll go and get in the underwear section. Didn't realize that they lock up the underwear. So that was very new to me. So I couldn't figure out how do you get somebody over here to unlock the underwear to get the underwear that I want. So I'm pushing something on a lock thing. I'm thinking like it's gonna call somebody and like nothing happened. It took me like 30 seconds to figure out that's not how it worked. So then I finally looked down like, oh, it's this black box right here, and it says call for help, whatever. So I pushed the date thing, light up blue. And I'm just waiting and waiting and waiting. And there's this lady that's like sitting down and like the next aisle over, like she could see me like standing there waiting, and she looks over at me and I'm like, okay, and she just keeps sitting there, whatever. So I'm just waiting and waiting, and nobody comes. So I walk back over to the box again, push the blue box again because it stopped lighting up. So I figured I don't know what happened. So it started lighting up. So I push it again and wait and wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. Still nobody shows up. So eventually, because my mom was with me, she went to the store with me, and so she found me and she's like, what is taking you so long? I'm like, I'm trying to get some underwear and nobody has come yet. So I push the button again and wait and wait and wait and wait. So she was like, I'm just gonna go find somebody. So she walked out the aisle or whatever and saw some random worker that was walking past and they thankfully had a key to unlock it. And she walked down there. My mom, she was making a scene. And around here, they don't want to do their job. They don't understand what's going on. He's been waiting for a long time, just get some underwear. And as soon as the lady goes to unlock the case for the underwear, the lady who was sitting in the aisle, the very next aisle over, that was looking at me, she stands up and put on her Walmart vest, like, "Oh, you need a help?" Like, first of all, I didn't even know she worked at Walmart. I just thought this was a Arabic lady because she had the little scarf thing on. So I figured this is just Arabic lady. I don't know, maybe she was waiting on somebody. I didn't know that this lady worked there. I said, so you sat there and watched me this whole time standing here waiting when you could have just got up and just got the underwear. Boy, I was so damn pissed. I said, I don't even want to go look for the picture frames no more at this point. I was gonna go back and try to look for the picture frames again after I got the underwear. But I'm like, I don't even want to go back and look at the picture frame, look for the picture frames more. I just paid for myself and left. I'm like, this is horrible. Like Walmart, y'all need to do better. Especially with the people y'all hire. Do better. All right, so these clips are not in a particular order. I'm still not feeling good, so I didn't feel like putting these in a particular order. So they're in the order where that they were uploaded into the thing. So I want to get into these clips, and then we can. I want to come back and discuss them. And so let's go. Let's go into our first one.
And all of them said very strongly, we can't we cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. They won't have a nuclear weapon.
That is Trump talking about the soldiers who died in his pointless war. That is our president disgracing Isabella Gonzalez and Tyler Feehan, saying that their final words were, "We can't let Iran have a nuclear weapon." Fuck you, Trump.
I don't think anybody's final words will be, I don't think Iran should have nuclear weapons. So like if somebody is they're dying or whatever is going on, like they just got bombed, they don't think they're gonna live. This is it for me. I don't think their final words is gonna be, I don't think Iran should have nuclear weapons. It's like, tell my wife, my girlfriend, my kids, somebody that I love them. Tell my family I love them. I don't they Iran doesn't we don't want Iran to have nuclear weapons. Like this man is delusional on so many different levels, and the fact that he still has such a huge following and people are so in love with this man, they hang on to every word. I just do not understand the craziness behind Donald Trump and America. When it comes to November, we hopefully y'all choosing to do better. Do better. I have too much respect for military families for him to be saying that. That's just some craziness right there. But without further ado, let's head into this next clip.
If you want to know what the president's focused on this afternoon, it's posting this rendering of a giant air filter. On the left, Canada. On the right, the United States. An air filter barrier between the two nations because of the wildfire smoke coming from Canada. Now, even in his own rendering, the smoke can just go over the air filter. But we're not going to talk about that. The reason why we're even showing you this, and also says air filter barrier right over here, clean air, clear borders, is because to me, this is cosplaying him potentially constructing a border wall on the Canadian border. So he's not going to say that explicitly, but this is an air filter wall. And this is the first time he's brought up a wall on the border of the American-Canadian border. And if you know anything about the president, he's like a comedian. He tests out jokes, he tests out themes to see what sticks. And if this starts to stick, would not be surprised if he now starts to say we need a border wall along the northern border as well. But remember, we're not sending firefighters to help, but we are talking about building a border wall of an air filter. Follow for more.
When we had our wildfire here in the U.S., like didn't Canada come over here and help? And the fact that he constructed a border wall with an air filter, and then he wanted to raise tariff taxes on Canada because of the wildfire. Like what? And like I said, I live in Wisconsin, and we were affected by the wildfire. We were very close to the wildfires when the smoke started drifting south into the U.S. Like it was very thick, hard to breathe. I was happy to be at home that day, the first day on that Thursday where it was like really bad. It cleared up by the next day. But yeah, the logic that somebody needs to take AI away from him. Somebody should need to take his phone away from him at night. Somebody needs to babysit Donald Trump and his shenanigans at this point. Because stuff like that is just why other countries hate us, and then cost of living is high. So I can't stand this man. But anyways, let's head into this next clip here.
Protect this man at all costs.
My name is Dr. Jared Cooney Horvath. I'm a former teacher turned cognitive neuroscientist who focuses on human learning. And I do not receive funding, nor have I ever, from big tech. So a sad fact our generation has to face is this. Our kids are less cognitively capable than we were at their age. Every generation has outperformed their parents, and that's exactly what we want. We want sharper kids. And the reason for this largely has been school. Each generation spends more time in school. We use school to develop our cognition until Gen Z. Gen Z is the first generation in modern history to underperform us on basically every cognitive measure we have, from basic attention to memory to literacy to numeracy to executive functioning to even general IQ, even though they go to more school than we did. So why? What happened? What happened around 2010 that decoupled schooling from cognitive development? It can't be school. Schools basically look the same. It can't be biology. This hasn't had enough time to change. The answer appears to be the tools we are using within schools to drive that learning. Across 80 countries, as Gene was just saying, if you look at the data, once countries adopt digital technology widely in schools, performance goes down significantly, to the point where kids who use computers about 5 hours per day in school for learning purposes will score over 2/3 of a standard deviation less than kids who rarely or never touch tech at school. And that's across 80 countries. Bring it home to the US. Let's go to the US. We have our NAEP. That's our big data. Take any state, and here's a fun experiment you can try. Take any state NAEP data, compare that to when that state adopted one-to-one technology widely, and watch what happens. The NAEP data will plateau and then start to drop. But of course, this is all correlative. What we really want is causative. To get causation, what you need is academic research and you need mechanisms, explanations for why we're seeing what we're seeing. Luckily, we have academic research stretching back to 1962 that shows the exact same story for 60 years. When tech enters education, learning goes down. In fact, because what do kids do on computers? They skim. So rather than determining what do we want our children to do and gearing education towards that, we are redefining education to better suit the tool. That's not progress, that is surrender. So as we go through our discussion today, there's going to be a lot of talk about smartphones and social media, rightly so. But I'm the voice here to remind you that even in schools, it doesn't matter what the size of the screen is, if it's a phone, if it's a laptop, if it's a desktop, and it doesn't matter who bought it. Is it school sanctioned? Does it have the word education stamped on it? It doesn't matter. All of these things are also going to hurt learning, which in turn are going to hurt our kids' cognitive development, right at the time when we need our kids to be sharper than we are.
This has to stop. Like this post, follow No Dice, and join me for No Dice 45.
I believe that really speaks for itself, because this is the fact that, I feel like they might be overachieving us when it comes to some tech and how they learn tech and everything. They grew up in a very technological, and from us, like, I'm from the end of analog, beginning of like the switch to digital, and so we was able to somewhat convert over pretty easy for us and learn new tech as it came out and went on. But for Gen Z, yeah, I agree with everything that man said in that video. And let's move on to the next video.
The United States government is actively running out of military weapons. You heard that correctly. They're running out of munitions as a result of the war in Iran. And according to new CNN reporting, the chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Kane, and Vice President J.D. Vance privately warned Donald Trump over the past several days that continuing this war in Iran, well, we could be depleting America's stockpile. That is significant because not only would it curb America's ability to do much in Iran, but it could hurt America's ability to respond to attacks from other adversaries, if an adversary were to attack. After 13 straight days of bombing Iran, Donald Trump abruptly stopped the bombing Friday night, and then he stopped it again Saturday night, last night. And now we're in Sunday, and it looks as though, because of the munitions stockpile issues that the United States is having, we may not have much more bombing of Iran soon. But this is a major story not getting much coverage. Spread the word, follow along to stay up to date on all the news you need to know about.
I guess Trump was like, if we run out of bombs, we'll just get some more. Or, they'd create jobs in the American factories, whether to build military arsenal. I don't know. Like, the whole war in Iran is stupid. I don't know why we a war. I don't understand why this is a thing that is happening after he promised no war and no wasteful wars, whatever he said, in the Middle East. So I just don't understand. Like I said, this man has lied to the American public so much, and he thinks the majority of the American public is stupid. But once again, he's only fooling his followers. And let's head into the next video, folks. So from the screenshot, the screen, whatever, grab that I can see the video. Yeah, let's just watch this and come back and discuss. Because when I first saw that, I was like, this cannot be real. And it's very real about this man eating all these calories in one meal. So here we go.
Need to order?
Yes. Can I start off with some appetizers?
Okay, what kind?
Can I get an order of the boneless wings?
Okay, how many pieces?
Can I get the 16 count? Can I get buffalo?
Okay.
And then can I get some of the bone-in wings? Buffalo as well.
16?
16,
okay.
yes. And then can I get an order of your mozzarella sticks?
Okay. Anything else?
Can I get the 6 count, the shareable size?
Okay.
And then can I get an order of your nachos, the shareable size as well?
Nacho shareable. Anything else?
Yes. And then can I get an order of your dip trio, the chips and salsa and the cheese and the wok?
Okay.
And that's it for the appetizers. Can I get an order of your chicken crispers for the main course? Can I get them 6-piece, no mac and cheese, extra fries?
Okay. No mac and cheese, extra fries. Anything else?
And then can I get the big smasher burger? Can I get that with fries as well? No veggies, just meat, cheese, and bun.
Okay. Plain.
And then can I get a full rack of ribs?
Oh. Okay.
Can I get no mac and cheese on that, extra fries with extra barbecue sauce on the side?
Okay.
And
Anything
then can I get an order of your chicken sausage Cajun pasta?
Okay.
Can I get an extra Texas toast on that?
Okay. Anything else?
And then for dessert, can I get the skillet chocolate chip cookie and the molten cake lava?
Okay. Would that be it?
That'll be it, yes.
Okay.
And then can I get for the drink, can I get a Diet Coke and a water?
Okay.
If y'all need me, I'm gonna go do a 10-mile run, followed by a 5-mile swim.
Now, I'm a big guy myself. There's no way I could eat all that food. I thought this had to be a lie. This can't be real. This man is not really sitting there ordering all this food. He's not going to eat all this food. And then I find out, because his videos started popping up, and there's more videos of him doing this. So like he went to McDonald's and ordered $80 worth of food. Do you know how much food you get at McDonald's for $80? Like, it's ridiculous. Then there's this one time I'm just going to have a little snack or some breakfast. That he opens up a whole entire pack of cookies, and he added some more cookies from another one. So I just add a little, and he poured in some chocolate milk and sat there ate it. Like, have you ever heard of Cookie Crisp? Like, there's cereal that tastes like chocolate chip cookies, and yet you just ate a whole entire pack of cookies. And then for when he said he wanted a snack or something like that, he ate like 3 pizzas from Little Caesars. He ate like 3 pizzas. Yeah, just breadsticks. I mean, I'm just like, this just can't be possible. And then I saw photos of him when he was like smaller and like younger, and I don't know, younger, because I don't know how old he is, but if he looked decent, he's a very nice looking young man, and then now he's that off for content. Like, somebody needs to get him on one of those shows for whatever them shows called to help people with that. They need to get him on that show. That's ridiculous. Let's move on to this next clip.
Donald Trump is having a mental health episode on social media right now. He's been posting nonstop all day, some of the most insane things you can imagine. And I'm going to show you everything he posted today. So at 11:16 a.m., he posted this image of Caitlin Collins edited on Dylan Mulvaney's body. He continues to go after Caitlin Collins. At 11:43 a.m., he posted this, making fun of Bruce Springsteen. Then at 3:22 p.m., he posted whatever the hell this is. At 3:23 p.m., he posted this photo of him standing next to President Biden while he was giving a speech in the Oval Office. At 3:23 p.m., he also uploaded this image of Republican Chris Christie, Democrat Jerry Nadler fighting over a piece of cheesecake. Then again at 3:23, he uploaded this photo of Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, and Stephen Colbert. And here's where we get into the AI slop. At 3:24 p.m., he posted this, saying, "Give the enemy nightmares." I don't think anybody's scared of Donald Trump. At 3:25 p.m., he posted this AI photo of him on the poster of like a Star Trek movie, I guess. At 3:25 p.m., he posted this Trump 2028 poster, so I guess he's doubling down on wanting to run for president again. At 3:31 p.m., he posted this photo of the strike on Karg. Karg Island is part of Iran, so I guess he's threatening even more war. And here's where it gets really weird. He posts the same photo 7 times in a row. So at 3:31, he posts this. It's an AI photo. It's our oil tanker now. Then at 3:32, he posts the same photo with a slight variation. Now there's troops in the background. Then at 3:33, he posts the same photo again, but more added. At 3:47, he posts an AI image of an Iranian ship being blown up. And then he goes back to posting this photo again. 4:36 p.m., this again. And then 4:36 p.m., the same photo again. 4:37 p.m., a slight variation, but the same concept. At 4:39 p.m., he posts an AI image of him cosplaying as a Navy commander. At 4:40 p.m., he posts this, America First, with different founding fathers in the background as if they'd like Donald Trump. At 4:41 p.m., he posts this, the man who saved America. Really? Really? At 4:45 p.m., he posts this, calling the United States the guardians of the world. I don't think you can really claim to be the guardians of the world if you're willingly starting wars, but okay. At 4:52 p.m., he posts whatever the hell this is. I don't know what I'm looking at right now. At 4:57 p.m., he posts an AI image of him with JFK outside of the White House. At 4:59 p.m., he posts a Trump 2028 mug surrounded by people crying, so I guess, again, doubling down on running again. At 5:01 p.m., he posts this again. He posted it yesterday. It's an AI image of an air filter between Canada and the United States. This is because Canada has experienced wildfires recently. At 5:04 p.m., he posts an AI image of him as a doctor saying, "Do you see the spine? This is what I want Republicans to have." And then finally, as of now, at 5:16 p.m., he posts this fake movie poster of Trump x Washington, a time travel epic. Sounds terrible. But this is what the President of the United States is doing today, posting AI slop for hours. This man is unwell. We need the 25th Amendment right now.
How are you, the President of the United States, have that much time on your hands to just sit there and post AI pictures? Like, I wish I had that much time on my hands to sit there and just think of AI pictures and create AI pictures of myself. But yeah, once again, the man is deranged. He's a psychopath. I don't know what he thinks that he's doing to save America, because he hasn't done anything to save America. The only thing he did was make life harder for everyday working American citizens. That's literally all he has done. Let's head into this next clip. I'm tired of this man and his shenanigans and his, oh God, I can't stand this.
2 years ago, Donald Trump and MAGA Republicans told you they'd bring grocery prices down on day one. They told you they'd stop spending money on stupid wars in the Middle East. They promised to bring energy prices down by 50% and get gas below $2 a gallon. The exact opposite has happened. For 2 years, Americans have been wondering, were MAGA Republicans lying, or are they just incompetent? We now have an answer. It's all of the above. All of the above.
So me personally, I have not seen anything that the Republicans has promised. I have not seen the gas prices has not gone down. Food has not gone down. The cost of housing has not gone down. The cost of healthcare has not gone down. Everything that they have promised has not happened. And the fact that they're trying to get all these they're trying to change the voting laws just months before the November election is crazy, because they know that they messed up and they lost and they're going to be out. That's just the way how things is. It's just the way how it's going to go. And I cannot wait for November to get here. If I can see a lot of these people lose their jobs. They're about to lose their jobs. They're about to lose their jobs. Let's go into this next clip.
Listen what happened to Capitol Hill.
Nowadays, if you want to go to Olive Garden and get unlimited pasta, you got to show a picture ID. This isn't complicated stuff.
It's so ridiculous that we have the Olive Garden require ID for the all-you-can-eat pasta bowl, but we allow people to vote without showing who they are.
Madam Chair, we're protecting our breadsticks more than our ballots in jurisdictions across this country.
So, they do know when you register to vote, you had to provide an ID to register to vote. When I went online to get a ballot mailed to my house so I could do mail-in voting, I believe I had to submit a copy of my valid ID in order to receive the ballot. So if you have to have a valid ID to register to vote, and you have to show that valid ID, because when they go through your name and check, oh yeah, you are a registered voter. Can I see the ID to verify that it's you, or whatever they use it to verify that? I don't know, but I still show my ID when I vote, and to validate that it look at me like, okay, yeah, this is him, and then I go on and go vote. So for them to be like, oh, people are just voting without IDs, anybody can just walk in and vote, that's not how it works. You have to have some type of proof that it's you. Like when I went to go vote, like I just went and voted. What was it, last week, Tuesday? By the way, horrible experience. If you don't follow me on TikTok or any of my social media pages, it was a horrible experience. I went to go vote. So let's say I walked in. First of all, the sign to show you like vote here sign, it was so freaking small, I almost didn't notice it, and so I almost drove past the place. So end up pulling in, go in. It's in a building with no air conditioning. It was about 80 something degrees that day. That's hot to me. I don't like 80-degree weather. It's hot. So it's an air conditioned building. Go over there. Like, oh, you at this? Also, I don't know what ward I'm in. Just, oh, you over there at that one. So then they find my name in the little voter book thing. I get them my ID. They look at me like, okay, it's him. They mark by giving me a piece of paper with whoever that number was that I was voting for that day. I go vote. And as soon as we try to, well, I guess there's other people ahead of me, like 4 or 5 people ahead of me. So apparently the machine had went down. And that's why I say sometimes, like, I don't want to be that person, but people over a certain age, when it has to do with jobs with technology, if you're not good with technology or know technology, you should not be working these jobs. Or they should have did a good job in training you leading up to these elections, so that if something like this to go down, you know what to do. Because the thing that you slide your ballot into and catch your vote, it went down. And the lady there, I guess she was trying to get in contact with her boss. Her boss was answering the phone, so we're just sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And then one of the other ladies was like, "Hey, they could just this little drop box on the machine. They could put their ballots in there, and at the end of the night, we'll just count their ballots when we get the machine. Whenever they come out, we get the machine back up and running. But we can just count their ballots at the end of the night or whatever." And the lady's like, "No, you can't do that." So then they're going back and forth. It was just such a horrible experience. And then on top of that, they had one fan in that place. It was like one fan off in a corner somewhere. It was horrible. And I feel like they did that for, I don't know if they did that for people that won't show, for people that don't show up and vote, or they don't want people to show up and vote. I don't know what the reason for, but why they moved it to that location. But that is by far the worst voting location. I'm gonna call my alderwoman. I know she ain't gonna do nothing because Malayla Cobbs, for her to be my alderwoman, she ain't came, and her people even came knocked on our door. I remember it's a couple years ago when our power was out. Like them, no, they ain't come around, come check on their constituents. They didn't see if everybody was all right. They don't come to the neighborhood. You don't see them. You don't see her team, I should say. So yeah, I'm gonna give her a call tomorrow when I remember. But yeah, such a horrible experience. But I don't remember what I was rambling about before, whatever video clip was before that. So let's just head into the next clip.
The cracks are starting to show in America's power infrastructure. In the past week, electricity flickered on and off for roughly 10 minutes across the eastern United States of America, from Chicago to Boston to Miami. Happened on July 22nd. We now know why. Data centers. Loudoun County data centers in Virginia are being linked to a potential crack in America's power grid. Now, 10 minutes isn't a long time. Flickered on and off. But Data Center Alley, located in Ashburn, Virginia, is sucking up the energy in the United States of America. And experts now tell local NBC4 Washington that cracks are emerging in America's power grid. A crack became so visible that millions of homes and businesses experienced it. This is just the beginning of what folks expect could be a massive power surge and energy suck by more data centers being built. And wait till we have suborbital data centers floating around in space. Spread the word, follow along for all the news you need to know about.
Now, here in Wisconsin lately, we've been baking. Like when I say baking, Like we've been baking like most days when I was leaving work, it's about 80, 90 degrees when I'm leaving work. It is horrible. Like this has to me, this has been like one of the hottest summers in Wisconsin that I could remember myself. Like we have been baking here. And what this year we have, at least for me, we have had at least 3 power outages this summer alone. Yeah, it's been about 3 or 4 power outages this summer, and it's most of the time. It's every time we either it hasn't been from like the heat from excessive like air conditioning use and stuff like that. At least I don't think so. It's always been after a major storm, and I think the last one, the last power outage we had, it happened at like 5 something in the morning, like 5:30 something in the morning, and I remember I was up getting ready for work and just like, and we didn't have power for like what 12, 13 hours a day or something like that. So we went a pretty long time without power. And like I said, that's something that's been happening a lot lately. I don't know if it's due to the data centers. I know we have data centers here in Wisconsin, but um yeah, like I saw this coming. Like I remember for decades they've been saying that Americans need to update their electrical grids. For decades it's been a talk because it was like with how we consume power today, it's not enough electricity um to it's not enough electricity being produced for the amount of electricity that we're using. So this has been a problem going on for decades, and now with all these data centers popping up, is making everything become worse, and a problem they need to fix now instead of decades ago or 10 years, 20 years into the future. So hopefully something is done about this. But with this current administration, we're not going to see anything. It's just not going to happen. They're not going to protect us. They're not going to do anything because they're all for their corporate friends. So let's head into this next clip of whatever Donald Trump has to say.
But you people have no idea how lucky you are. When I'm gone, you're all going to be broke. Your business model is going to be finished. No, it's true. When I'm not around, you're going to be broke. There's not going to be anybody to report on. Nobody gives a damn about anybody else.
The lies that man tell. If anything, when you're gone, we're going to have money again. People are going to have money again. So, like I was saying, everybody's gonna be broke because I just had a major technical issue and it just threw me way off everybody's. But let's just head into the next clip.
Donald Trump just got the news he has been dreading. A federal judge has officially entered an order requiring to open his financial records, open his books to the BBC. See, Trump sued the BBC for defamation, $10 billion. And moments ago, a federal judge, a magistrate in South Florida says, Donald Trump, you have to open up your book. Well, not Trump himself. His revocable trust, which controls the keys to his entire business operation. The revocable trust was established to essentially manage all of Trump's properties and companies while he's president. And the lawsuit really dug his own grave, because in the lawsuit, Donald Trump alleged significant financial harm. And because of that, the BBC was able to get these financial records. It opened the door for the BBC to say, well, if you're going to say you suffered financial harm, we want to see your financials to make sure that you actually suffered the harm you're claiming. And we'll see if Trump appeals. He probably will, but major step forward. And this is something that he has not wanted to do. Follow for more.
Yeah, I can't wait for that to happen. I wonder what's in your books. What are you hiding from us? Well, we know you're hiding corruption. You're hiding corruption from us. That's what you're hiding from us. But anyways, let's get into this next clip right here because he's always corrupt anyway. So let's just wait and see what corruption comes out when those books get open. So let's go into this next clip.
Heads up, AI companies have started buying and destroying rare and antique books at incredible scale. AI companies right now are buying up antique and rare books, ingesting their contents to train their models, and then destroying them at incredible scale, according to new reporting from Futurism. Here's what's happening according to 404 Media. AI companies are bulk buying rare books. Then they scan them through high-speed machines that cut the spines of the books off and then shred the original book. A federal judge has even ruled that this practice is considered fair use, because if you eliminate the original, it means that only one copy of the book remains at a time. Nobody in the pipeline is actively checking whether these books are the last book ever to be on Earth. And so not only are classic books being destroyed, but historical records are. Local histories, self-published memoirs of wars, and more. And it's all happening during this massive AI boom as we speak. So be aware, spread the word, and follow along, stay up to date on all the news you need to know about.
Well, that's just crazy. Now the next generation is gonna be even more stupid. They already can't read. We've seen a lot of videos of teachers talking about how their students can't read and all these other kind of things. So you're gonna take away books? Let's just head into the next clip.
Donald Trump's new corrupt deal with FIFA and the World Cup seems to have already backfired on him. The football world has responded. Several European nations are considering boycotting the World Cup if Gianni Infantino, the president of FIFA, presses ahead with plans to sell a stake in the World Cup to private investors. And guess who those private investors are? People close to Donald Trump. UEFA members, which is the Union of European Football Associations, are set to hold an emergency meeting later this week to discuss a collective response. Jared Kushner, who's married to Ivanka Trump, his brother, is expected to lead FIFA's proposed investor group. But if this continues and European nations boycott the World Cup, it doesn't seem like this is going to happen.
Corruption. Next.
Texas police searched 83,000 flock cameras nationwide to try to find a woman who they believe had a self-administered abortion. This occurred back in April 2025, and according to 404 Media, Texas authorities used flock cameras nationwide in an effort to try to find this woman. The sheriff in this county said the woman self-administered the abortion, and her family was concerned for her safety. So what did the authorities do? They searched flock cameras. 83,000 of them. But they didn't just search these flock cameras in states that abortion was illegal. They searched it, according to 404 Media, in states that abortion was legal, including Washington and Illinois. And this story isn't necessarily a new one, but it's one that a lot of people have attention on, because the use of flock cameras nationwide has become a much larger issue of whether or not authorities are actively surveilling Americans. And in this case, they didn't result in charges. But in another case, it very well could. And experts are concerned that cops in a state where abortion is illegal can search cameras in other states where abortion remains a human right. Spread the word, follow for more.
I'm sick of law enforcement and public. If somebody don't keep the baby, let them have the abortion. They say, "Oh, that's a killing of a life," or whatever they want to call it. I don't. You know what? I wouldn't say I don't care. Like, it's their body, their choice. And like I say, if I was a person who was raped by a family member, pregnant, why would I want to keep the baby? That baby's, I'm going to grow to hate that child. I'm not going to want the child. I'm going to have to look at that child for the rest of my life from a situation that was the worst moment in my life. And for them to track down a woman using these flock cameras in all these different states to track down a woman because she had an abortion, like, come on, man. We got to do better. Let's head into the next clip.
Indiana residents are furious right now because a data center project literally cut power to tornado warning sirens ahead of severe weather storms. Sometimes you really can't make this stuff up. This occurred in Linton County, Indiana. And according to Linton News, a data center that is being constructed in the county cut power to the lines that fed energy to the tornado warning sirens ahead of severe storm. The power line that was cut ran 4 of the tornado sirens in the county. Now, thankfully, residents could still get information about upcoming tornadoes from their phone, for example, or online. But actual tornado warning signs that go off when you have a tornado nearby, yeah, well, they weren't working for a period of time because of this data center. And Indiana residents are furious that A, there's no backup generator for these sirens. B, the fact that this data center was able to accidentally cut power to them, and so much more. As always, spread the word, follow along to stay up to date on all the news you need to know about.
It's just a shame. So it's putting people's lives in danger. Like the one, I think it was in, I want to say, somewhere in Georgia. There's some other center where like the data centers like making the water dirty. The community that was near the data center didn't have like water pressure, and then they were communities with the release of like water and stuff. Like, this is ridiculous. It is ridiculous, and I don't know what do anybody have any suggestions of what we can do as in Americans to stop these data centers being built in normal everyday civilian life communities? Like, they should not be in communities. Like, they need to be put out in the middle of nowhere where there's nobody out there going to ruin what they call it, like forests and natural habitat. I don't know. Hopefully somebody has got a solution. Let's head into the next clip.
We have some big news right now. One of Donald Trump's top supporters is calling for his impeachment and removal from office. Alex Jones, the former owner of InfoWars, who supported Donald Trump repeatedly throughout the 2024 election and afterwards, has now come out calling for his impeachment, saying that the president is completely out of control as it relates to the war in Iran, saying that the president has not received congressional authorization over the war in Iran. Alex Jones says that the president is considering a national draft of sorts and is therefore calling for the immediate removal of the president, whether via impeachment or the 25th Amendment. It is pretty stunning to see that even Trump's closest supporters throughout the past several years are now breaking from him in significant ways, calling for his removal from office. Pretty stunning. I'll have more updates for you soon. As always, spread the word and follow along to stay up to date on all the news you need to know about.
It's simple. Impeach the man. That's all we need to do. Impeach him. That's all we need to do. A lot of our problems solved. We just impeach the man, get rid of him. Next clip.
Dean Withers here. Here's something we're not talking about enough. Trump is projected to be responsible for the deaths of 14 million people over the course of the next 4 years. Yes, you heard me correctly. Because Trump is president, 14 million people are projected to die. And if Trump was not president, those 14 million people would be projected to live. Let's talk about it. Our government funds a public program called USAID, and USAID is responsible for saving the lives of millions and millions and millions of people since its conception in the early 2000s by reducing the transmission and spread of diseases across the globe, including HIV, malaria, AIDS, as well as ensuring that more people have access to clean water and safe food. And according to this study conducted by The Lancet, continued cuts to USAID are projected to cause 14 million people to lose their lives over the course of the next 4 years that wouldn't have died if it was never defunded. So for all of my conservative pro-lifers watching this video, I need to ask you a question. We all know you care so much about the clumps of cells growing in women's uteruses, to the extent where now in 10 of our 50 states, if you are a victim of rape and you get pregnant, you are forced to carry that pregnancy to term. So the real question is, do you care that much about people like you and me? And if so, how could you possibly justify your continued support for Trump, knowing that he is directly responsible for the projected future deaths of 14 million people like you and me? That's all for now. Make sure to hit that follow button to stay in the loop.
Dean pretty much spoke for himself, so we're just gonna head into that next clip. So here we go.
This is what it's like living with a data center in your neighborhood. And this is what it's like living with a data center on your block. And this is what it's like living with a data center on your block inside of your house with all of the doors and windows closed. Sometimes they flood your neighborhoods and do nothing about it.
The house was pretty much surrounded by water.
Record levels of flooding coming out of this site.
But most of the times they do this to the neighborhood water supply.
Water pressure in the kitchen. Those are the things we have to fill up to flush the toilets.
So you can see the sediment from the data center. Wow, and that's just from the water coming out of your faucet.
Yeah. And this is what's in all the pipes.
And if you're like, Ed, this would never happen where I live because my neighborhood would never allow this to happen. Well, in Gilroy, California, Amazon is building a 60-acre, that's 60-acre data center. And because they're building it in an industrial area, just far enough outside of the closest residential area, they didn't have to consult any of the residents.
They say they know at this point they probably can't stop this data center.
And if you're like, Ed, if they're building it just far enough outside of the reach of residential areas, then it should be fine, right? Nope, because they're illegally and secretly building power plants inside of these data centers.
This is what it looks like in a standard drone shot, but watch what happens when I switch to thermal.
Wow. Those smokestacks that you see, they're literally built to disperse pollutants into the area. That's why even though you don't actively see smoke coming out of those smokestacks, under heat, you will see that they are actively burning pollutants into the air. And it's crazy that Lee Zeldin, the current head of the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, when he took over office last year, stated that he was boosting AI, the Environmental Protection Agency head, which has not only allowed this data center, but because these data centers require so much energy to operate, even Elon Musk's ex-AI data center in Memphis, Tennessee, was found that they were illegally generating extra electricity. Surprise, because they had secretly built an illegal power plant inside of their data center. See those smokestacks with all of those smoke coming out of it? And it's because the EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin has stated that he will not set national environmental standards for AI data centers, even though the EPA's own website clearly states that those emissions have serious health and environmental impacts. And again, on the EPA's website, that are not limited to the area immediately adjacent to the plant, but because air pollution can travel over long distances, the impacts of power plant emissions can be felt locally as well as many miles away, meaning that the air quality in a community can be impacted by far distant sources as well as those site near a community. And because I don't think that the millions of Americans across tens of thousands of neighborhoods across the country should have to fight individual battles to keep these data centers out in order to keep their property values from plummeting and their families' health from plummeting, I created this petition. You can find it right here, demanding that the decision makers like EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin prioritize the lives of Americans and not the pockets of billionaires and set national standards for keeping data centers out of our neighborhoods. Sign the petition and help save our neighborhoods. Thank you and stay safe.
Like I said, we need to decide and we need to do better. He came up with a plan, and I guess with some ideas of what we can do. Like I said, we first saw the lady saw how drinking water is and all these other things that these data centers are doing. It need to be talked about. We need to keep pushing for change. We need to be pushing for regulations. We need to be pushing for all these things, because if we don't, we're going to end up in a very, very, very bad situation that I don't think nobody wants to be in. So with that being said, let's head into our next.
Last night, Donald Trump in the White House actually posted this video online. Yes, this is real. Yeah, I don't even know what we just watched. This is real. You can find it on their Twitter or different social media platforms. I don't know what that was. The American people just want healthcare. We want affordable housing, affordable groceries, affordable education. And this is what Donald Trump gives us instead. Utter insanity.
And I don't think it's going to get any better. That was just, once again, why do you have time to do that instead of running the country? Like you said, we want better healthcare, better, cost of living, but better housing, better people. Stop voting against your interests. Let's head into this next clip.
The cruel reality of their propaganda is that they've convinced millions of Americans to vote against their own self-interest in service of ruining other people's lives that they'll never meet or interact with. I'm fine with crushing medical debt just as long as that one trans kid doesn't get to grow up playing high school basketball. I'm fine with my insulin costing $1 trillion a shot just as long as we round up all the immigrants. Surely they're if the right wing knew what the Democrats wanted to accomplish through their policies, we would win every election going away. But Trump's propaganda is very effective. It has been since the dawn of time. They'll convince rural Americans who would benefit the most from universal health care that we can't afford it because it's too expensive, because of all the freeloaders, people looking for handouts, and then they'll turn around and inform those same people that they're taking $1.5 trillion of their money to go build bombs to bomb children in a different country for freedom. And they just gobble it up. Fuck, dude.
And that is America for you. There's so many different ways. And he hit everything around the head. Like I said, he said it too. Stop voting against your own interests. And that's all I can say about that. Let's head into this next clip.
A new list has been released showing that dozens of ICE and other DHS employees have histories of SA and other serious crimes, mostly against children. A 36-page report titled They Walk Among Us, a list of 59 abusive ICE and Border Patrol agents, was published by the advocacy group Ohio Immigrant Alliance. Out of the 59 documented individuals, 50 of them were charged with or convicted of SA. Within that group, 37 of them committed crimes targeting children, with 35 specifically committing SA against children, making it the single largest category in the entire report. CBP accounts for the vast majority of the list. However, ICE cases are more likely to involve minor victims. This is the direct result of broader institutional failures by the Trump administration. Rapid recruitment methods that skip background checks, written exams, and psychological vetting has allowed people with histories of domestic abuse or mental health issues to get government badges and firearms. There's been thousands of SA complaints filed by immigrants being held in ICE detention facilities, and the Trump administration is trying to make this harder to track. Under an executive order, the DOJ issued internal directives ordering inspectors to stop enforcing key components of the Prison SA Elimination Act. This effectively blinds independent oversight and leaves these facilities to audit themselves. At the same time, ICE has stripped SA and safety safeguards directly out of its private prison contracts.
More corruption, as you can see. And well, I still don't understand what is up with all this deporting people and putting people out the country. There was a story I saw today about there was this man who was gay, and they were going to report him. They were going to deport him back to his own country, but I think he was under, if he gets sent back to his country, his violence threatened against his life or something like that. So then they were going to deport him to another country that he's never been, never stepped foot on, never walked on, and then in that country, being gay or having gay sex is punishable by life in jail. So the judge literally had to stop a plane that this man was on and had him say no. And then now they got like a week or two to answer to why they were doing what they were doing. But yeah, I'm not for the mass deportations and all that stuff that they got going on right now. And then they told us that there was going to be criminals that they were deporting, but they're just deporting their normal working people. He was in the U.S. for pretty much almost 10 years. And he actually has a job, work, pay taxes. And this is what we're doing. Wow. Anyways, let's get into the next clip.
Stop scrolling. If there's one thing you do today, watch and share this video of every single Trump official and the president himself lying to the American people about vandalism at the reflecting pool. It was all a lie. It was all bullshit.
The vandalism is very real, despite what Tim Walz wants to say. It's an imaginary problem. No, it is not. It's a very real problem.
Reflecting pool is so beautiful. They tried to destroy it. They cut it up with a buck's knife and tried to destroy it.
A lot of people, when this first happened with the pool, didn't believe the president that there was vandalism. Not the case.
Yeah, it's not the case at all. In fact, I was at the reflecting pool yesterday. There not only is a vandalism that is reflected in today's indictment, but there is a cutting of the liner of the pool at the base of the pool for several yards across the pool. And someone was intent on doing incredible damage to the pool.
The contractors who did the initial work with the reflecting pool, are they to blame for the current condition, or is it
vandalism?
Vandalism.
But it peeled off. Why did that happen? Do you know?
It didn't peel off. There was vandalism. There was box cutters. There have been 7 arrests. There was people literally trying to destroy part of a monument. The reflecting pool is not just a pool on the wall. It is part of the Lincoln Memorial. And if anybody says that they're going to go and vandalize that, it's no different than if someone was throwing.
And you're 100% sure that what happened with the liner was vandalism. You can prove it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely can. And as we drain it, and we've got all the photographs we can see.
They all lied. Every single one of them.
And he's right. They all lied because if you weren't aware, the person who they claimed did the vandalism, they dropped all the charges against them because they said they didn't have any evidence that he had anything to do with the damage to the reflecting pool. And then it turns out that it was, in fact, the people who they hired to do the work on the reflecting pool was the ones who caused the damage to the reflecting pool due to their poor work, basically. So, yeah, they lied. They lied about the whole reflecting pool. They lied for a long time about that. But let's head into this next clip.
Is Francesca Hong too radical for Wisconsin? Hell no. But of course, when there's a Democratic Socialist candidate who actually wants to help Wisconsinites live better lives, they're considered radical by Republicans. You know who is the most radical candidate in the Wisconsin governor's race? Tom Tiffany. Tom Tiffany voted to overturn the 2020 election and opposes mail-in ballots. He also has never voted to control pollution. I would say refusing to accept reality and refusing to protect public health is pretty radical. Wouldn't you guys? Tom Tiffany also voted to cut Medicaid, increase your healthcare premiums, and take food assistance away from kids that are poor. He also voted to gut rural hospitals and force Wisconsin taxpayers to pay over $280 million in higher costs in future state budgets. And you might be thinking, wow, it really seems like Tom Tiffany is trying to screw Wisconsinites over. But maybe he's actually trying to help us out though, right? No. Tom did all that just to give billionaires another tax break. Imagine thinking that Francesca Hong and her free childcare, free healthcare, and max spending on schools is radical. It's not radical. It's what Wisconsinites deserve. Wisconsin needs Francesca Hong.
Unfortunately, she did not win the Democratic nomination for the governor. It did go to David Crowley, who did win the nomination. And somebody was like, "Oh, Wisconsin messed up," and all these other kind of things. I feel like it was a very neck and neck between them. But I feel like people, like we know that David Crowley, he's for the AI data centers and all these kind of things. But I think why people voted for him is because they figured that he would have a better chance at winning the governor race against Tom Tiffany. I'm not saying that because she's a woman, because I believe Wisconsin has yet to have a female governor yet, but we have not yet had a black governor either. So, I think he has a better chance at defeating Tom Tiffany than she did, because as we saw with the presidential election, a lot of people didn't vote for Kamala Harris just for the simple fact that she was a woman. So that's why I believe a lot of people voted for David Crowley, just for that we can have that chance in beating Tom Tiffany come November. All right, so let's head into the last clip of the day. So here we go.
I'm 24, I've never seen America at peace. And when older people look at you and they go, why can't you just be proud of what America has achieved? Why can't you just love this country for all that it has done? Your response can be, I want to, but I have never seen it before. And this is the clear divide, whether Republican, conservative, up, down, left, right. I was born in 2002, after 9/11, ushered into a war on terror that I obviously wasn't around for. I wasn't sentient. Barack Obama's inaugurated in January of 2009. Those are like my first political memories. I'm 14, a freshman in high school. Donald Trump comes down the stupid gold escalator and political division explodes. And you go to the adults in the room and you're like, this is supposed to be happening, right? And they're like, no, this is fucking insane. And then I lose my senior year of high school due to COVID. I graduate on the TV, which I will never let go of. And there's a whole meme about the class of 2020 never letting go of it. I will never let go of it. I don't have in-person classes my freshman year of college. I sit inside the entire time online classes. And now I'm 24 and it's the slowest pace of hiring in 25 years, not including COVID. And war is raging in Iran, and as I sit here at the gas station, $5.40 for gas. Consumer sentiment all-time low. I mean, I just feel like I'm constantly getting fucked. I've never thought about owning a home or starting a family. These are not things that, like, my generation thinks about very often. Hope it helps.
And to be honest, Gen Z, unless their parents before them, which would probably be millennials, millennials and some Gen Xers, unless some of them like bought a house, or they inherited a house to pass down to them, that's the only way I feel like Gen Zs are going to have a house to own of their own. Because, like I said, they have been dealt a bad card. They have walked into a world, been born into a world that in a country that has been nothing but pure chaos for the last 26 years now. So it's horrible, and I really do feel bad for Gen Zs in that generation. People talk about them real bad, and we had the video earlier about how they are the first generation to not be better than their parents in so many ways. Oh my goodness, sorry. I thought the nap I took before this was good enough, but yeah, I just really feel bad for them, and hopefully, I mean, once Trump get out of office, hopefully things just get better. I just really hope it does. So, with that being said, thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Same Cast Different Day podcast. It's not our usual episode. I'm recording this on a Thursday instead of a Sunday night live like we normally do. But I believe me and Tina will be live this Sunday, so make sure y'all check us out. And I hope to see you all on the next episode of Same Cast Different Day podcast.